Thanks for tuning back in. I'm Tommy Campbell, still bald, still in my basement, and today I'll be digging into Jim Acosta's departure from CNN, coffee beans, tariffs, and more. But you know, I'm still trying to figure out how Donald Trump even manages to stand like this. I mean, I guess his love for kids isn't the only thing he took from Michael Jackson, but MJ had special shoes that clipped into the stage for the lean, and if you're mad at me right now, watch the documentary Leaving Neverland. This sack of Big Macs isn't clipped in. He's on the tarmac with that crazy lean. I don't know how he does it. It's weird. I just love seeing Gavin tearing into him though. And this version here was shared by Polly6 on Twitter. So give him a follow because this is really great. Now, like all situations, Trump cowered, complimented Gavin, then found a corner to craft a lie about water in, while Eric worked the golden turd tongs and crafted his own tweet that he abruptly deleted. But here it is. Any and all who dare to defy the American golden age, heed this warning. You will lose. Toe the line or we will run you down. The gloves are off and we're not playing around this time. For now it's tariffs, but trust me, we can and will do so much worse. Yes, that's the president's son threatening the world. And yes, that's Trump golfing already. Couldn't even go a week because he is weak and a bully. And this led to Acosta's exit. CNN had a major shakeup that saw a mass exodus of their viewers as they leaned further and further right and started the trend of sane washing. But one person hung on for as long as possible, but now the diaper Don's in, he's out. And when Donald Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, and Mike Lindell regularly complain about you, you know you are doing something right. But in CNN's case, that was wrong. Here's Jim's powerful final message.
I've decided to move on. I am grateful to CNN for the nearly 18 years I've spent here doing the news. People often ask me if the highlight of my career at CNN was at the White House covering Donald Trump. Actually, no. That moment came here when I covered former President Barack Obama's trip to Cuba in 2016 and had the chance to question the dictator there, Raul Castro, about the island's political prisoners. As the son of a Cuban refugee, I took home this lesson. It is never a good time to bow down to a tyrant. I've always believed it's the job of the press to hold power to account. I've always tried to do that here at CNN, and I plan on doing all of that in the future. One final message. Don't give in to the lies. Don't give in to the fear. Hold on to the truth and to hope. Even if you have to get out your phone, record that message. I will not give in to the lies. I will not give in to the fear. Post it on your social media so people can hear from you too. I'll have more to say about my plans in the coming days, but until then, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. It has been an honor to be welcomed into your home for all these years. That's the news. Reporting from Washington, I'm Jim Acosta.
CNN deliberately sabotaged Jim's time slot to appease Trump and not to anger his eyes too close together and eyes too far apart fan base. They moved Wolf Blitzer into Acosta's 10 a.m. Eastern slot paired with Pamela Brown. The network said it had offered Acosta a job at midnight, have your midnight job, and then they'd move him to L.A. where his show would air at 9. This is a farewell tactic that works well. Even Mike Lindell pushed his longtime co-host Brannon out by giving Lou Dobbs his primetime slot, only for Lou to fail and then die. I guess you're not paying attention, CNN, but Fox News lost $787 million for lying, and you're getting rid of your last honest man. Now, some people may not be bothered by this, and you should be. You should be, because this is another network caving to Trump, and Acosta was one of a kind. The guy had big ones. He stood up to many, and here's that time he first stood up to Trump.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to challenge you on one of the statements that you made in the tail end of the campaign in the midterms.
Here we go.
If you don't mind, Mr. President, that this caravan was an invasion. As you know, Mr. President,
I consider it to be an invasion.
As you know, Mr. President, the caravan was not an invasion. It's a group of migrants moving up from Central America towards the border with the U.S.
Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate it.
Why did you characterize it as such?
Because I consider it an invasion. You and I have a difference of opinion.
But do you think that you demonized immigrants in this election to try to keep?
I want them to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. You know, they have to come in, Jim, through a process. I want it to be a process, and I want people to come in, and we need the people.
Your campaign.
Wait. You know why we need the people, don't you?
But your campaign had an ad showing migrants climbing over walls and so on.
That's true.
But
they weren't actors.
They're not going to be doing that.
They weren't actors. Well, no, it's true. Do you think they were actors? They weren't actors. They didn't come from Hollywood. Right. These were people. This was an actual. You know, it happened a few days ago. And
they're hundreds of miles away, though. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, I was
that's
going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President.
That's enough.
Mr. President, I had one.
It's pretty wild looking back at that. Jim is very brave, and this got his press credentials removed, and they claimed that he had basically assaulted the lady who approached him and grabbed him. And again, his absence was because of a Donald Trump presidency. The same presidency that puts this out. When you want to put a country on notice and cannot even spell it correctly, you should not pass go. Do not collect $200, go directly to jail. You're stupid. District of Columbia, British Columbia, Columbia University, Columbia. Coffee prices have spiked since Trump's tariff threat with Columbia, one of the world's largest coffee producers. But come on, nobody drinks coffee, right? And we can just plant our own. All right, watch this.
Coffee from Colombia. We actually make our own coffee here too in Kona, in Hawaii, right? There's multiple things coming out of our neighbors' countries that aren't sort of reducible to one thing, but I think that's part of what the media has been articulating this entire time, arguing that the GOP reduces humans to an identity, but really it's them shoving these countries into boxes. President Trump sees them as partners.
Yeah, what's interesting is Trump's trying to bring about a world where he'll drop the rate for companies that actually come here and make some of that stuff to 15% tax rate. So we might not have to miss coffee or whatever they think they're going to miss that we can clearly make our own, but maybe not as much of, because maybe some of those countries will come here and they'll package their stuff or distribute it from here.
Okay, Kona coffee comes from one of Hawaii's growing regions, but it's the most well-known and among the most expensive in the world. Hawaii is the only state in the U.S. where coffee is grown on a commercial scale because of its volcanic soils, tropical microclimates. They make it perfect for growing specialty coffee. But the output represents less than 1% of all coffee grown in the world. The overwhelming majority of coffee you buy in the USA or Canada is from far, far away. You need a very specific climate for the beans, and you're not getting that in Wyoming or Saskatoon. And she said, oh, they can just repackage it here. That's what everyone's doing. Patriot Coffee, Liberty or Death Roast. Ethiopia, American Patriot Coffee Company, Old Glory Roast. Colombia, Colombia. Black Rifle Coffee Company, Guatemala. Brazil, Rudy Giuliani's Dripping Hair Dye Blend, Honduras. And his coffee is just repackaged Mike Lindell coffee. And by comedy law, whenever coffee is mentioned, I do have to roll this classic.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to announce my latest grift, My Coffee. This Arabic coffee comes all the way from the Honduras, and I've employed the best artists to use the finest paintbrushes to put Bible verses on every single bean. Just look at all these awesome people farming in another country. That's not a coffee bean, it's a steak sandwich. We used our big budget to get stock footage of Honduras and film this in front of a green screen instead of an actual kitchen. If you can guess how many beans are in this shot, I will shave my mustache and get a Biden tattoo. If you want a terrible aftertaste, jitters, or an upset stomach, it's all possible with My Coffee. That's not a coffee cup, it's a steak sandwich. I keep picking up the bag to check if the coffee's alive. Order now with promo code number C and enjoy a cup of my brown sludge while watching my channel on Roku if you can get it to load. This isn't a bag of beans, it's a steak sandwich, and you're going to need at least 2 forks to enjoy My Coffee.
All right.
Well, and that's the raw version we're getting. We always like to test things here, but we've got all the colors and stuff will be made for TV, and and a different song. I didn't like the song in the background. I'm very particular about stuff like that, Brandon.
I know.
Mike Lindell and his customers are about to enter the find out phase. I mean, right now, only the threat of tariffs exists and prices are going up. Wait till things actually happen. And you can't get those little Bible verse printed beans at the same price. I make this show 100% on my own, thanks to you. If you love what I do, drop me a super thanks, consider leaving me a PayPal tip, or hit the join button to support what I do here. And today I'll be dinging while Eric worked the golden turd tongs and crafted his own his own tweet. I gotta take that again. Patriot Coffee, Liberty or Death Roast, Ethiopia. Ethiopia. I guess his love for kids isn't the only thing he took from Michael Jackson. He wanted to date his daughter. Show would air at 9 p.m. This is a farewell tactic that works well. Even Mike Lindell pushed his longtime co-host Brandon out. Brandon. What a name, Brandon.
I can confirm the Tommy Campbell Show is the best political comedy show on YouTube. And I hope you subscribe.